For this next problem, I noticed that it's not written in descending order. So that's the first thing I want to do. Rewrite it as 7x squared minus 18x plus 8. I don't see any GCF that goes into each term. I can, however, notice that 7 is a prime number, and that's going to be an easy way of writing out, this is going to have to start with 7x times 1x. Now 8 gives me a lot of choices. I don't think we're going to have a 1/8 there because 7 times 8 is 56, and that's nowhere near the 18. Now 8 and 1 gives me an 8 in the middle and a 7 on the outside, but 8 and 7 don't add up to 18. So I'm going to have to try 2 and 4. 4 times 2 on the outer, that's 28. Still not going to work. So I think all that I'm left with here is 4 times 2. My outer becomes 14x. My inner becomes 4x, and if these are both negatives, they will add up to make minus 18. So I want a minus inside each parentheses. Now you may look at this and go, ooh, I don't like all this guessing stuff. Is there another way? Well, the answer is yes, there is another way. It's called the AC method. And with the AC method, you have ax squared plus bx plus c. You take the 7 times 8 and you get 56. And then you take the factors of 56, which sometimes are a little bit longer of a list. 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 3 doesn't go in, 4 times 14. What goes next? 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't, 7 times 8. And you find which of those will give you the 18 in the middle. And in this case, it's the 4 and the 14, which will give you an 18. And you want both of these to be negative to make that negative 18. Then you rewrite the entire problem from the beginning. So you're right back up here at this line. You say 7x squared, and then you go minus 4x minus 14x plus the 8, and use the minus 4 and the minus 14 that we had from our little list there. Then you apply the grouping method to what you have, and you can see that an x comes out, leaving you with 7x minus 4, and we can divide out a minus 2 from what's left, leaving you with 7x minus 4. And then that 7x minus 4 factors out, and you're left with x minus 2, which factors, and you get to that answer. Now, some people really like it because it takes all this guesswork away. Personally, I'm not wild about it because once you start multiplying a times c, you get larger numbers, and then breaking down that 56 becomes a little bit of a challenge. So I'm not going to be showing you this AC method. If you want to play with it a little bit more, really study this example I gave you and go to your textbook and read up on it a little bit more. But I'm going to go with this guessing method, which really reinforces the checking of your distribution with all your addition and subtraction for those middle terms. Continuing on, I see this next problem has a 12 out front and has a 2 at the end, and I want to break this down easily, but I don't know how to make a 12 easily without a lot of choices. But I notice 2 is a prime number, and the only way I can multiply to get that 2 is a 1 times 2. So this time I'm going to play around with my choices for this leading 12. It could either be 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. And I play around with all the different options, and it turns out that if I put a 4c in the first position and a 3c in the next position, I've got a 3c in the center and an 8c on the outer, and if it was a positive 3 and a negative 8, those will together add up to give me this minus 5c, which is at the top center. So that tells me I'm going to have a plus in the first parentheses so I can get my positive 3c, and a negative in the second parentheses to make that negative 8c. For this next problem, we look for a GCF, but we don't find them. We notice that 73 is a prime number, and so there will not be a coefficient that goes into all three. We also notice that we've got two variables here, which make a little bit of a difference. Now, normally when I try to split these up, I try a balanced approach. I like to go 3 times 4 to make the 12 instead of a 1 times 12, and a 2 times 3 to make a 6 instead of a 1 times 6. But 73 is a larger number here, and it really doesn't fall between the other two. So this time instead, I'm going to try kind of a split approach where I go 12y and 1y, and then I'm trying to make a 73, and if I put a 6z at the end and just a 1z there, that will likely help us with what we're going for. We have a yz as the middle terms, and we have a 72yz as the outer sum. And notice if they are both negatives, then we will have our negative 73 in the center. So both of these should become minus signs, and there we have it.